Commander Taman Park stood at the observation deck of Aegis Prime, Earth's largest orbital defense station. He watched the stars through the thick glass, drinking his morning coffee. It was a quiet Tuesday morning, just like any other day in his 12 years of service. The coffee was still warm in his hands when the alarm started screaming. "Commander!" Sergeant Jiwan Lee rushed into the observation deck, her face pale with worry. "We have something big on the scanners. Really big." Taman put down his coffee cup and followed Jiwan to the main control room. The massive screen showed something that made his blood run cold. A ship was approaching Earth, but it was not like any ship he had ever seen. It was 10 times larger than their biggest space station. The metal hull was dark and covered with strange symbols that seemed to glow with their own light. "How far away is it?" Taman asked, trying to keep his voice calm. 2 million kilometers and closing fast," replied Lieutenant Donghyun Kim from his station. "Commander, this thing is huge. Our computers say it could carry 1 million people." Taman stared at the screen. In all his years watching space, he had never seen anything like this. Earth had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Today they got their answer. "Send a message to Earth Command immediately," Taman ordered. "Tell them we have visitors." The alien ship stopped just outside Earth's moon orbit. For 6 hours it did nothing. It just sat there in space, silent and waiting. Earth's military forces went to high alert. Every news channel on the planet was talking about the massive alien ship. People gathered in the streets looking up at the sky with fear and wonder. Then the aliens made contact. A new voice came through every communication device on Earth and in space. It was deep and cold, speaking perfect English. "People of Earth, I am Ambassador Kethral of the Galactic Council. We come with an important message for your species." President Hyunwoo Kim was in an emergency meeting when the voice filled the room. General Do-yeon Lee sat across from him, along with Dr. Soo-jin Choi from the Advanced Research Division. They all stopped talking and listened. "Your species has been watched for some time," the alien voice continued. "You have grown too fast. Your technology advances too quickly. Your wars are too violent. The Galactic Council has decided that humanity is dangerous to the peace of the galaxy." Dr. Soo-jin Choi gripped her pen tightly. She had spent her life studying space and dreaming of meeting alien life. This was not how she had imagined it would happen. "We offer you a choice," Ambassador Kethral said. "Submit to Galactic Council rule. Give up your weapons. Accept our guidance. Do this and your species will survive under our protection." General Do-yeon Lee stood up, her face red with anger. "They want us to surrender without even meeting us?" "If you refuse," the alien voice went on, "your planet will be destroyed. Every human will die. Your cities will burn. Your history will end. You have 30 Earth days to decide." The message ended. Silence filled the room. President Hyunwoo Kim looked around at his advisors. Outside the window, he could see people running in the streets. Car horns were honking. The world was in panic. "Sir," General Lee said quietly, "what do we do?" Before the president could answer, a young man knocked on the door. It was Jae-ho Nam from the Strategic Intelligence Division. He was holding a tablet and looked excited. "Mr. President, I need to show you something important," Jae-ho said. "I've been looking at the alien ship's design. There's something strange about it." Dr. Soo-jin Choi took the tablet and studied the screen. Her eyes grew wide. "This is impossible," she whispered. "What is it?" President Kim asked. "Some of the technology on that ship," Dr. Soo-jin said slowly. "We've seen it before. 20 years ago, a strange object crashed in the Pacific Ocean. We studied it in secret. The metal was unlike anything on Earth." Jae-ho nodded. "That's not all, sir. I've found records of similar crashes going back 50 years. We've been collecting alien technology for decades." General Lee frowned. "Are you saying we have alien technology?" "Not just any alien technology," Dr. Soo-jin said, looking at more data on the tablet. "Some of this matches what's on that ship up there." President Kim felt a small smile form on his lips. For the first time since the aliens arrived, he felt something other than fear. He felt curious. "How much do we know about these aliens?" the president asked. "More than they think," Jae-ho replied. "Our deep space missions have been watching them for years. We know about their other worlds. We know about their wars. They're not as powerful as they pretend to be." The president walked to the window and looked up at the sky. Somewhere up there, an alien ship waited for humanity's answer. The aliens thought they were dealing with a primitive species that would either submit or die quickly. "General Lee," President Kim said without turning around, I want you to prepare for the worst, but do it quietly. Yes, sir. Dr. Choi. Gather everything we know about alien technology. Everything. Right away. Mr. President, and J-Ho. The president finally turned around, and there was something cold in his smile. I want to know everything about these Galactic Council aliens. Their ships, their weapons, their weaknesses. Everything. As the three advisors left the room, President Kim returned to the window. The people in the streets below were scared. They thought their leaders would have to choose between slavery and death. But the president was thinking about something else. For 50 years, humanity had been preparing for this day without knowing it. They had been learning, studying, and growing stronger. The aliens had made one big mistake. They thought humanity was weak because they lived on one small planet. They thought humans were primitive because they had just learned to travel in space. They were wrong. President Kim's smile grew colder as he watched the sunset. In 30 days, the Galactic Council would get humanity's answer. But it would not be the answer they expected. The hunt was about to begin, and humanity had been preparing to be the hunters, not the prey. 3 days after the alien ultimatum, chaos ruled the Earth. People emptied stores of food and water. Some cities had riots. Others had prayer meetings. Everyone wanted to know what their leaders would do. But deep beneath the Pentagon, in a room that did not exist on any map, Dr. Soo-Jin Choi was showing President Hyun-Woo Kim humanity's greatest secret. This is Vault 7, Dr. Soo-Jin said as thick metal doors opened. Only 12 people in the world know about this place. President Kim followed her into a massive underground laboratory. The room was filled with strange machines and pieces of metal that seemed to glow with their own light. Scientists in white coats worked quietly at computer stations. 50 years ago, the first alien craft crashed into our ocean, Dr. Soo-Jin explained. We told the world it was a weather balloon, but we kept the real wreckage. She led him to a large glass case. Inside was a piece of metal that looked like liquid silver. This is alien hull material. It repairs itself when damaged. It's stronger than anything we can make. How many crashes have there been? President Kim asked. 17 that we know of, Dr. Soo-Jin replied. Each time we learned something new. We reverse-engineered their computers, their engines, their weapons. We've been building our own versions for decades. The president stopped walking. Our own versions? Dr. Soo-Jin smiled. Follow me. They took an elevator deeper underground. When the doors opened, President Kim's mouth fell open. Before him stretched a massive cavern filled with spaceships. But these ships looked different from anything Earth had ever built. They were sleek and dark, with the same flowing lines as the alien vessel in orbit. We call them ghost ships, Dr. Soo-Jin said. They use a combination of human and alien technology. They're faster than anything the Galactic Council has. A young woman in a military uniform walked up to them. Mr. President, I'm Captain Min Ho-yoon. I just returned from a mission beyond our solar system. You've been to other star systems? President Kim asked. Yes, sir. For the past 10 years, we've been secretly exploring Galactic Council space. We've mapped their territories, studied their defenses, and learned about their military. Captain Yoon handed him a data pad. The Council controls over 1,000 worlds, but their military is spread thin. They're fighting rebellions on dozens of planets. Their forces are tired and overconfident. President Kim studied the information. They rule through fear. Exactly, Captain Yoon said. They show up with a big fleet, demand surrender, and most species give up without a fight. They've never faced serious resistance. Until now, said a new voice behind them. They turned to see a woman in her 40s approaching. She had cold, calculating eyes and moved with the confidence of someone used to command. Mr. President, this is Yoon Ji-han, Dr. Soo-Jin said. Our chief military strategist. Yoon-ji handed the president another data pad. I've been studying the Council's tactics for years. They follow the same pattern every time. Big show of force, demand surrender, then either accept submission or destroy the planet. What makes you think we can fight them? President Kim asked. Because they've never fought humans before, Yoon-ji replied. Every species they've conquered was peaceful or predictable. Humans are neither. She pointed to the data pad. Look at this. In every council war, the aliens follow strict battle formations. They communicate through predictable channels. They retreat when they lose more than 30% of their forces. And humans don't follow any of those rules, President Kim said, beginning to understand. We adapt. We improvise. We fight dirty when we need to, Yunji said with a cold smile. The council has no idea what they're dealing with. Captain Yoon stepped forward. Sir, we've also discovered something else. The council isn't united. 5 different alien species make up their military and they don't trust each other. Political problems? The president asked. More than that, Captain Yoon replied. The Vashari, like Ambassador Kethral, think they're the superior species. The crystal-based Zephyrians believe in group thinking. The machine-like Nexus follow only logic. They argue constantly. Dr. Sujin led them to another section of the cavern. Here humans worked alongside machines that looked almost alive. We've also been developing something special. We call it the Prometheus Protocol. What does it do? President Kim asked. It turns their own technology against them, Dr. Sujin explained. Remember, we've been studying their tech for 50 years. We know how their computers work, how their weapons think. Prometheus can take control of their systems. The president was quiet for a long moment. How many people know about all this? Besides us? About 200 scientists, engineers, and military personnel, Yunji replied, all sworn to absolute secrecy. And the rest of the world thinks we're helpless, President Kim said. Let them think that, Yunji said. Fear makes people fight harder when the time comes. An alarm sounded softly through the cavern. Captain Yoon checked her communicator. Sir, the aliens are sending another message. They took the elevator back to the surface levels where a communication room was set up. On the main screen, Ambassador Kethral appeared. The alien was tall and covered in dark scales. His eyes were yellow and cold. People of Earth, the alien said, we have been monitoring your communications. We see your fear and confusion. This is good. Why species choose survival over pride. President Kim watched the alien's face carefully. Kethral spoke like someone used to being obeyed without question. We offer you help in making the right choice, the ambassador continued. Send representatives to our ship. We will show you the benefits of council rule. The message ended. President Kim turned to his advisors. What do you think? It's a trap, Yunji said immediately. They want to study our leaders, learn our weaknesses. Or, Dr. Sujin said thoughtfully, it's an opportunity. To do what? Captain Yoon asked. To study them, Dr. Sujin replied. If we send someone up there, we can learn about their ship, their technology, their psychology. President Kim nodded slowly. Who would go? I volunteer, said Jae-ho Nam, who had been quiet in the corner. I'm not important enough for them to consider a threat. But I'm trained to observe and remember everything. It's dangerous, the president warned. Everything we do from now on is dangerous, Jae-ho replied. But if we're going to beat them, we need to understand them. President Kim looked around at his secret council. These people had been preparing for this moment for years. They had built weapons in the shadows. They had explored alien space. They had learned to think like predators. Very well, the president said. Mr. Nam will go to their ship. But we continue preparing for war. Yes, sir, they all replied. As the meeting ended, President Kim remained in the communication room. On the screen, he could see the alien ship in orbit. It looked powerful and frightening. But now he knew something the aliens didn't. Humanity had been playing a long game for 50 years. They had learned alien technology, built secret fleets, and studied their enemies. The council thought they were negotiating with primitives. They were wrong. President Kim's smile was cold as winter. In 27 days, the galaxy would learn what humans were really capable of. The aliens wanted Earth's submission. Instead, they would get humanity's true nature. Jae-ho Nam tried not to show his fear as the alien transport ship carried him toward the massive council vessel. Through the small window, he could see Earth getting smaller behind him. He had a small recording device hidden in his tooth and a memory chip under his skin. If he died today, at least the information would survive. The alien transport was cold and smelled like metal, and something else he couldn't identify. The pilot was a Nexus, one of the machine-like aliens Captain Yoon had described. It didn't speak to him during the entire trip. When they docked with the council ship, Jae-ho was amazed by its size. The corridors were wide enough for 20 people to walk side by side. The walls were covered with symbols that glowed and moved like living things. Ambassador Kethral met him in a room that was clearly designed to impress visitors. The ceiling was high and the walls showed images of different alien worlds. All of them looked peaceful and prosperous. Welcome, human, Kethral said in his deep voice. I am pleased that your leaders chose wisdom. Thank you for inviting me, Jeho replied, playing the role of a nervous primitive. This ship is amazing. This is nothing, Kethril said with pride. Wait until you see what the Council can offer Earth. For the next 6 hours, the alien showed Jeho around the ship. Kethril talked constantly about Council technology, Council peace, and Council strength. But Jeho was paying attention to other things. He counted weapons, memorized corridor layouts, and watched how the different alien species interacted. The Vishari, like Kethril, clearly thought they were in charge. The crystal Zephyrians moved in groups and spoke in musical tones to each other. The machine Nexus worked alone and never seemed to rest. Just as Captain Yoon had said, they didn't seem to like each other very much. Tell me, Kethril said as they stood in the ship's command center. What does your president think of our offer? He's considering it carefully, Jeho lied. But many people on Earth are afraid. Fear is natural, Kethril replied. But your president seems intelligent. He will make the right choice. Jeho nodded and asked innocent questions about Council history and technology. Kethril was happy to answer, clearly enjoying the chance to show off to a primitive human. Meanwhile, on Earth the real work was beginning. In secret bases around the world, hidden ships were preparing for launch. Admiral Boram Kim stood in the command center of Titan Base, built inside Saturn's largest moon. Around her, hundreds of technicians worked to ready humanity's hidden fleet. Status report, Admiral Kim ordered. Ghost Fleet Alpha is ready for deployment, reported Commander Insu Park. 47 ships, all equipped with Prometheus protocol. Ghost Fleet Beta is in position near Jupiter, added Commander Yejin O. 32 ships, ready to move on your command. Admiral Kim studied the tactical display. Red dots showed known Council ships throughout the solar system. Green dots showed human ships that the Council didn't know existed. What about the Mars shipyards? She asked. Working at full capacity, Commander Park replied. We're building 3 new ships every day. Admiral Kim smiled. For 20 years, humanity had been building ships in secret locations throughout the solar system. The Council thought Earth had 12 primitive spacecraft. The truth was that humans had over 300 advanced vessels hidden in asteroid fields, behind moons and in the cold darkness between planets. Back on Earth, President Hyunwoo Kim was playing his part perfectly. He held daily press conferences looking worried and uncertain. He met with world leaders who demanded answers he pretended not to have. Mr. President, asked a reporter during one conference, will you surrender to the aliens? We are exploring all options, President Kim replied, looking like a man carrying the weight of the world. This is not a decision we can make lightly. But after each public appearance, the president met with his secret counsel. Dr. Sujin Choi had made an important discovery. I've been studying the data Jeho sent back, she said. The council ship's communication system is more advanced than we thought, but it has a weakness. What kind of weakness? Asked General Do-Yeon Lee. It's connected to every other council ship in their network, Dr. Sujin explained. If we can get the Prometheus protocol into their main communication hub, we can disable their entire fleet at once. Yoon Han leaned forward. How long would that last? Maybe an hour before they figure out what happened, Dr. Sujin said. But an hour is long enough. Long enough for what? President Kim asked. Yoon smiled coldly. Long enough to show them what humans really are. Young-Soo Park, Earth's expert on alien psychology, had been studying council behavior patterns. I've identified their biggest weakness, he announced. Arrogance. Explain, the president said. Every species they've conquered was either peaceful or fought using predictable tactics, Young-Soo said. They've never faced an enemy that studies them first, then adapts. They expect us to either surrender or attack directly. And we're going to do neither, Yoon said. Exactly. We're going to let them think they've won, then hit them when they're not ready. As the days passed, the Council increased pressure on Earth. More ships arrived in the solar system. They broadcast messages showing the destruction of other worlds that had refused to surrender. They wanted humanity to see what happened to species that said no. But President Kim's response was always the same. We are still considering our options. We need more time to prepare our people. The aliens interpreted this as fear and weakness. Ambassador Kethril sent increasingly impatient messages. The Council was used to quick surrenders or quick victories. This long negotiation was unusual for them. With 5 days left before the deadline, Jae-ho returned from his second visit to the council ship. This time he brought more than just information. I planted the virus, he told the secret council. Dr. Sujin's program is now in their main computer system waiting for activation. Excellent work, President Kim said. What did you learn about their plans? They're planning to demonstrate their power tomorrow, Jae-ho replied. They're going to destroy one of our space stations as a warning. General Lee's face went dark. Which station? Aegis Prime, Jae-ho said quietly. Everyone in the room went silent. Aegis Prime was where this had all started, where Commander Taemin Park had first spotted the alien ship. How many people are on that station? President Kim asked. 1,500, General Lee replied. Then we evacuate them tonight, the president decided. Make it look like routine maintenance. Sir, Yoonji said carefully, if we evacuate the station, the aliens might get suspicious. President Kim was quiet for a moment. Then his cold smile returned. Let them destroy an empty station. It will make them overconfident. And overconfidence, Young-soo added, is exactly what we need them to feel. The next morning, the world watched in horror as alien weapons turned Aegis Prime into space debris. President Kim appeared on television, looking defeated and broken. He announced that humanity would give its final answer in 3 days. But in secret bases throughout the solar system, Admiral Boram Kim was giving very different orders. All ships, prepare for Operation Defiance, she commanded. In 72 hours, we show the galaxy what happens when someone threatens humanity. The council ships celebrated their easy victory. They had destroyed a human space station without any resistance. Clearly, these primitives would surrender soon. They had no idea that humanity's real fleet was already moving into position. Ghost ships silently emerged from asteroid fields. Hidden bases activated their weapons. Across human space, the greatest military force Earth had ever assembled, prepared to reveal itself. The aliens thought they were negotiating with a weak, frightened species. In 3 days, they would learn the truth about humanity. The final day arrived like any other morning, but everyone knew it would end differently. President Hyun-woo Kim stood in his office, watching the sun rise through bulletproof glass. In a few hours, he would give humanity's answer to the Galactic Council. The world held its breath. News stations showed crowds gathered in every major city. Some people prayed, others protested. Many just waited in silence. Everyone expected their president to announce surrender or certain death. Ambassador Kethral contacted Earth exactly at noon. His scaled face appeared on screens worldwide, looking pleased with himself. The destruction of Aegis Prime had convinced him that humans understood their situation. President Kim, the alien said, the council is ready to receive your answer. Thank you, Ambassador. President Kim replied, maintaining his role as a worried leader. I will address both Earth and the council in 1 hour. I trust you have made the wise choice, Kethral said coldly. Oh yes, President Kim replied with a small smile. We have definitely made our choice. After the communication ended, President Kim walked to his secure command center. General Do-yeon Lee was there, along with Dr. Soo-jin Choi and the rest of his secret council. On the main screen, they could see the tactical situation throughout the solar system. Red dots showed 97 council ships positioned around Earth and throughout human space. They had arrived over the past month, confident in their overwhelming superiority. Green dots showed humanity's hidden fleet. 312 ships, all invisible to council sensors, all waiting for the signal. Admiral Kim reports all ghost fleets are in position, General Lee announced. Operation Defiance is ready. Dr. Choi, is the Prometheus protocol prepared? President Kim asked. Ready for activation, she replied. The virus Jae-ho planted is in their system waiting for my command. Young-soo, what's your psychological assessment? Young-soo Park looked at the alien ship positions. They're arranged in their traditional formation. Very orderly, very predictable. They expect either immediate surrender or a brief one-sided battle. Perfect, President Kim said. His cold smile was back. Let's give them something they don't expect. At exactly 1 p.m. Earth time, President Kim's broadcast began. Every human watched. Every council ship monitored the transmission. The galaxy was listening. Citizens of Earth and members of the Galactic Council, President Kim began, looking calm and confident. You have given us 30 days to consider your ultimatum. We have considered it carefully. On the Council command ship, Ambassador Kethral leaned forward, expecting to hear words of surrender. After much thought, President Kim continued, "We have reached our decision." He paused, and for the first time in 30 days, his smile was not diplomatic or worried. It was cold as space itself. "We decline your offer." Silence. On Council ships throughout the solar system, alien commanders stared at their screens in disbelief. No species had ever said no to the Council ultimatum, but President Kim wasn't finished. "In fact, we have a counterproposal," he said, his voice growing harder. "Leave our space immediately. Return to your own worlds. Forget you ever found Earth." Ambassador Kethral's eyes went wide with shock and anger. "You dare refuse the Council? You primitive—" Or, President Kim interrupted, still smiling that cold smile, "discover why Earth never developed a peaceful species." The transmission ended. For exactly 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then President Kim spoke one word: execute. Across the solar system, humanity revealed its true nature. Dr. Sujin Choi activated the Prometheus protocol. The virus that Jeho had planted spread through the Council communication network like wildfire. Within seconds, every Council ship lost contact with the others. Their weapons systems began malfunctioning. Their navigation computers showed false readings. "Prometheus is active," Dr. Sujin announced. "Council ships are blind and confused. Admiral Kim, you are clear to engage," President Kim commanded. In the asteroid belt, Admiral Boram Kim gave the order that changed galactic history. "All ghost fleets decloak and attack. Show them what humanity really is." Throughout the solar system, 300 human ships appeared from nothing. They had been hiding in asteroid fields, behind moons, in the shadows of planets. Ships that looked like liquid metal and moved like hunting wolves. The Council had expected primitive human spacecraft. Instead, they faced vessels that were faster, more maneuverable, and deadlier than anything in their fleets. Captain Min Ho Yoon led Ghost Fleet Alpha against the Council ships near Earth. Her flagship, the Predator, moved through space like a striking snake. Council ships tried to target her, but their computers showed her in 5 different places at once. "Target their command ship," Captain Yoon ordered. "Let's send Ambassador Kethral a personal message." The Predator's weapons were a combination of human engineering and alien technology. When they hit the Council command ship, the alien vessel's shields didn't just fail. They turned against the ship itself. On the command ship, Ambassador Kethral watched his perfect plan fall apart. His fleet was scattered and confused. Human ships were everywhere, moving in ways that defied every military doctrine he knew. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "They're primitives." "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from one of the human ships." Captain Yoon's face appeared on their screen. She was young, confident, and completely unafraid. "Ambassador Kethral," she said with a cold smile that matched her president's. "You wanted to see human technology. Congratulations. You're the first aliens to face humanity in actual combat." "This is impossible," Kethral shouted. "Your species just learned to travel in space." "Actually," Captain Yoon replied, "we've been traveling in your space for 10 years. We've been watching you, learning from you, preparing for you. Did you really think we would remain primitive forever?" Near Jupiter, Commander Insu Park led Ghost Fleet Beta against a Council battle group. The alien ships tried to form their traditional defensive formation, but human tactics made their strategies useless. Human ships didn't fight in formations. They fought like a pack of predators, using speed and cunning instead of brute force. When Council ships tried to retreat, they found human vessels already behind them, cutting off their escape. "Council ships, surrender now," Commander Park broadcast. "You have 10 seconds to power down your weapons. We are the Galactic Council," the alien commander replied. "We do not surrender to primitives." "Wrong answer," Commander Park said. The Council ship disappeared in a flash of light. On Mars, General Do-Yeon Lee's ground forces revealed their own surprises. For years, humanity had been reverse engineering alien technology. Their soldiers now wore powered armor that made them faster and stronger than any alien warrior. When Council troops tried to land on Mars, they found human defenders using weapons that matched their own advanced technology. But humans fought with a savage efficiency that no other species possessed. "Fall back," a Nexus commander broadcast to his troops. "The humans fight like madmen." "No," corrected Sergeant Woo Jin Kim as his squad surrounded the alien position. We fight like humans. Back on Earth, President Kim watched the battle through satellite feeds. The fight was going exactly as Unjihan had predicted. The Council forces were superior in numbers and individual ship strength, but they had never faced an enemy that adapted and evolved during combat. "Status report," he asked. 60% of Council ships are destroyed or disabled. General Lee reported. "Our losses are minimal." "The virus is still active," Dr. Sujin added. "They can't coordinate their forces." "And their morale is breaking," Young-Soo observed. "They've never faced serious resistance before." In space, the one-sided battle continued. Human ships hunted Council vessels like wolves hunting sheep. The aliens who had come to destroy or enslave humanity found themselves outmatched by the very species they had underestimated. Captain Yoon received a desperate transmission from Ambassador Ketherals. "Ship, human captain," the alien said, his voice shaking. "We request immediate ceasefire. We are willing to negotiate." "Negotiate?" Captain Yoon laughed. "You came here to destroy us. You gave us 30 days to surrender or die. Remember?" "That was a mistake," Ketheral pleaded. "We didn't understand." "You understood perfectly," Captain Yoon interrupted. "You just thought we were weak." "You thought wrong." "Please," the alien begged. "My ship is damaged. We cannot fight anymore." Captain Yoon's cold smile never wavered. "Then surrender. Completely. Now." Throughout the solar system, the same scene repeated itself. Council ships that had arrived as conquerors now begged for mercy from the humans they had planned to destroy. President Kim watched it all with satisfaction. For 50 years, humanity had prepared for this moment. They had learned alien technology, built secret fleets, and studied their enemies' weaknesses. The Galactic Council had made one fatal mistake. They had judged humanity by their appearance rather than their potential. "Sir," General Lee said, "Admiral Kim reports that all remaining Council ships are surrendering." "Excellent," President Kim replied. "Send them a message. Tell them that humanity accepts their surrender. And tell them we have some new rules for the galaxy." As the battle ended, President Kim looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, other alien civilizations were receiving reports of the Council's defeat. 3 weeks after humanity's victory, the galaxy was a very different place. News of the Council's defeat had spread to every civilized world. For the first time in 1,000 years, species that had lived under alien rule dared to hope for freedom. President Hyunwoo Kim stood in Earth's new diplomatic center, watching construction crews put the finishing touches on humanity's first interstellar embassy. Through the massive windows, he could see ships from dozens of different worlds waiting in orbit. They had all come for the same reason, to meet the species that had defeated the Galactic Council. "Sir," said Jae-ho Nam, now promoted to Director of Alien Relations, "the representatives from the Alterian system have arrived. They're requesting immediate protection from Council loyalists." "Send them to Admiral Kim," President Kim replied. "She'll arrange for a defense fleet." Admiral Boram Kim had become the galaxy's most respected military commander almost overnight. Her tactics in the solar system battle were being studied by alien strategists across known space. More importantly, her fleets were now protecting worlds that had declared independence from Council rule. "The requests keep coming," Admiral Kim had told the president yesterday. 47 different species want human military protection. Some of them have been under Council rule for centuries. "And we'll help them," President Kim had replied. "But on our terms." Those terms were simple but revolutionary. Humanity offered protection and technology to any species that wanted freedom. In return, they asked only for friendship and fair trade. No tribute, no submission, no worship, just mutual respect between equals. It was a concept the galaxy had almost forgotten. Dr. Sujin Choi had established the Terran Science Consortium, sharing humanity's hybrid technology with allied species, but she was careful to maintain Earth's advantages. Humans had spent 50 years learning alien technology. Now they were teaching others, but they kept their most advanced secrets. "The Zephyrians are particularly interested in our quantum computers," Dr. Sujin reported to the president. "Their crystalline minds can interface directly with our systems. What do they offer in return?" President Kim asked. "Advanced mathematics and energy manipulation techniques," she replied. "Their civilization is 10,000 years old. They have knowledge we can use." "Approve the exchange," the president decided, "but make sure we maintain our technological edge." This was the new way of doing business in the galaxy. Trade, cooperation, and mutual benefit instead of conquest and slavery. Many species found it confusing at first. They kept asking what humanity wanted from them. The answer was always the same: friendship and respect. General Du Yan Li had become the supreme commander of the Allied Defense Force. Former Council worlds were amazed to discover that human military doctrine was nothing like what they had experienced under alien rule. "We don't occupy planets," General Li explained to a group of alien military officers. "We don't demand tribute. We don't rule through fear. We protect our allies and destroy our enemies. That's all." The aliens struggled to understand this concept. Every other galactic power they had known ruled through domination. Humans seemed content to be the strongest without needing to prove it constantly. "But how do you maintain control?" asked a Vashari officer who had defected from the council. "We don't," General Li replied with a cold smile. "Control through fear only works until someone stronger comes along. We prefer respect. Respect lasts." Young Su Park had been busy studying the psychological effects of humanity's victory on different alien species. His reports made for interesting reading. "The peaceful species see us as liberators," he told President Kim. "They're grateful but also afraid of us. They know we're predators even if we're friendly predators." "And the aggressive species?" the president asked. "They respect strength," Young Su replied. "Many of them want to join us rather than fight us. They see humans as the new apex predators and want to be on the winning side." "What about the council loyalists?" Young Su's expression grew cold. "They're planning something. Ambassador Kethril and his remaining supporters are gathering forces in the Outer Rim. They think they can return with a larger fleet and retake their empire." President Kim's smile matched his advisor's cold expression. "Let them try. The galaxy needs to see what happens to species that threaten humanity twice." The opportunity came sooner than expected. 6 months after the solar system battle, long-range sensors detected a massive fleet approaching human space. It was 3 times larger than the original Council force, with ships from every species that remained loyal to the old order. Ambassador Kethril led them personally, determined to restore Council rule and destroy the human threat. He had spent months convincing his allies that humanity's victory had been a fluke, a result of trickery rather than true strength. He was about to learn how wrong he could be. "Sir," Admiral Kim reported to President Kim, "the Council Loyalist fleet has entered our defense perimeter. They're demanding our immediate surrender." "How many ships?" the President asked. 2,417, Admiral Kim replied. "It's the largest fleet ever assembled in this galaxy." President Kim was quiet for a moment. Then his cold smile appeared. "Admiral, how many ships do we have now?" "Our allied fleet numbers 4,130 vessels," she replied. "And, sir?" "They're all eager to fight." The President nodded. "Signal the fleet. Tell them humanity appreciates their desire for revenge against the Council. But this is our fight. We'll handle it ourselves." "Sir?" Admiral Kim looked surprised. "We could use their help." "I know," President Kim replied. "But the galaxy needs to see what happens when you threaten humans. They need to understand that we don't need help to destroy our enemies." The final battle took place in the empty space between star systems. Ambassador Kethril arranged his massive fleet in the traditional Council formation, confident that sheer numbers would overcome human trickery this time. He was wrong again. Humanity had spent 6 months preparing for this moment. Their new ships were even more advanced than the ones that had defeated the first Council fleet. More importantly, they had learned from studying captured Council technology and tactics. Captain Minho Yoon, now promoted to Fleet Admiral, led the human forces. She commanded only 300 ships against the Council's 2,400, but she was not worried. "All ships," she broadcast, "remember what we learned from our allies. The Zephyrian mathematical sequences, the Alterian energy shields, the Nexus predictive algorithms. Today we show the galaxy what humans can do when we combine our nature with alien knowledge." The battle was even more one-sided than the first one. Human ships moved through the Council formation like ghosts, appearing and disappearing at will. Their weapons had been upgraded with technology from a dozen different species, all freely shared by Earth's new allies. But the most devastating weapon was still human unpredictability. While alien commanders followed battle plans and formations, humans adapted constantly. They fought like a living organism, each ship responding to the battle as it developed. In less than 4 hours, the mighty Council fleet was scattered wreckage floating in space. Ambassador Kethral's flagship was captured intact, along with the alien commander who had started this war. When Kethral was brought before President Kim, the alien was a broken creature. His scales had lost their luster and his yellow eyes were filled with fear. "How?" was all he could say. "How did you become so powerful so quickly?" President Kim looked at the alien who had threatened to destroy humanity. "You made a mistake, Ambassador. You judged us by what we appeared to be instead of what we could become. But your species is so young," Kethral protested. "You've only had space travel for decades." "Time isn't measured in years," President Kim replied. "It's measured in growth. In those decades, we learned more about the galaxy than your species learned in centuries. We gave you everything," Kethral said bitterly. "Our technology, our knowledge. We made you strong enough to defeat us." President Kim's cold smile was colder than ever. "No, Ambassador. You gave us the tools. We made ourselves strong enough to defeat you. That's the difference between humans and every other species you've encountered." Kethral was taken away to await trial for his war crimes. President Kim returned to his office and looked out at the stars. Earth was no longer a small planet hiding in the galaxy's backwaters. It was the center of a new alliance based on freedom and mutual respect. Young-Soo Park joined him at the window. "Sir, the psychological profile reports are in. Every major species in the galaxy now classifies humans as apex predators. They understand that we're not to be threatened." "Good," President Kim replied. "Fear keeps the peace better than any treaty." "What about our allies? Are they afraid of us too?" President Kim was quiet for a moment. "Some of them, yes, but they're also grateful. They know we could rule them if we wanted to, but we choose partnership instead. That makes their loyalty genuine." A soft chime indicated an incoming message. The face of the Alterian Prime Minister appeared on the wall screen. "President Kim," the alien said, "on behalf of the Free Species Alliance, I want to thank humanity once again. The Council loyalists will never threaten us again." "You're welcome, Prime Minister," President Kim replied. "That's what allies do for each other." After the communication ended,